Ninjas, also known as shinobi, were the spies, assassins, and saboteurs of feudal Japan. They were trained in ninjutsu, a collection of fundamental survivalist techniques that focus on unconventional warfare, sabotage, and espionage. Their techniques include skills like free running, archery, disguise, and concealment. These skills were developed in order to gather information, while remaining undetected and misdirecting their foes. Shinobi manuals, like the famous Bansenshikai, are often based off of Chinese military philosophy like Sun Tzu's The Art of War. Many of the tasks performed by a ninja were considered dishonorable and below the traditional samurai. In fact, most facets of a ninja were an affront to samurai. Where samurai were proud upper-class citizens, ninjas were mostly comprised of lower-class citizens. Samurai fought bravely in battles and followed Bushido, the way of the warrior, which is a code of honor and ideals for samurai to uphold. In contrast, the ninjas' methods went against Bushido in almost every way. Iga and Koga clans. While there was espionage and assassinations throughout Japanese history, it wasn't until the 15th century that people were specially trained to be shinobi. Before this, clans like the Iga and Koga became known for their unconventional warfare style as early as the 11th century. The lands of two clans were close to Kyoto, but still far enough away to be considered remote, especially with the difficult-to-travel terrain that surrounded them. This made their lands great hideouts for not just the ninja, but also bandits, and combatants of war who lost their battles. The history of ninjas mainly takes place during the Sengoku Jidai, Age of the Warring States, which began in the 15th century. By this time the Iga and Koga were quite well known. Other clans would hire their ninjas as mercenaries to help ensure their success in taking and keeping territory. The Sengoku Jidai lasted a long time, from 1467 to 1615, and shinobi from both the Iga and Koga were used on all sides depending on who hired them. Throughout that time in history, ninjas were used in many ways, but obviously stealth was the name of the game. Thus, a lot of their exploits were never contributed to them. However, one recorded event was from the Battle of Okihazama in 1560. 80 Koga ninja were hired by Tokugawa and tasked with raiding an outpost held by the Imagawa clan. It was written that the ninja were able to sneak into the castle, light the towers on fire, and kill the castle leader along with 200 soldiers. During this period of Japanese history, the shinobi of the Iga and Koga were a hot commodity. The ability to buy professional shinobi was quite valuable, but their independence did not last forever. The end of the Iga. On October 1, 1581, Oda Nobunaga and his 40,000 men swept through the Iga province, which was only defended by about 4,000 ninja and other Iga fighters. Nobunaga even hired the Koga clan to assist him. They crashed against the Iga army's hill fort. While the Iga fought hard to defend it, Nobunaga's numbers were too great and the Iga had to surrender. Oda Nobunaga showed no mercy and massacred everyone from the Iga he could find. Many escaped, but in the end, the Iga were no more. Shimabara Rebellion. The last great battle in history that included ninjas was the Shimabara Rebellion in 1637. Ninja from the Koga were hired by Tokugawa Iemitsu, at that time the current shogun, to take out Christian rebels who were making a last stand at Hara Castle. The Koga were able to disguise their appearance and sneak into the castle night after night. After learning that the castle's supplies were possibly running thin, the Koga were sent to capture bags of the enemy's provisions. With their supplies dwindling, the defenders were running out of food and getting desperate. The rebels even tried to charge out, but their assault was rebuffed. Eventually the castle was conquered from the weakened rebels with the Koga assisting in that assault as well. Ninjas fade into history. The Shimabara Rebellion was the end of any large battles in Japan for quite a while. This meant that during the Edo period, ninja were no longer in high demand for battle. Their skills were instead used as spies and bodyguards for daimyo, feudal lords. Over time, the ninja transferred to new areas of occupation with the knowledge from their ninjutsu, allowing them to become anything from doctors to firework manufacturers. In the early 18th century, the Onaway Band were formed by the shogun, Tokugawa Yoshimune. The Onaway Band were a mix between an intelligence agency and the secret service. Some believe that ninjas eventually morphed into the Onaway Band. Many IGA and Koga clan members were used as palace guards before, and the skill sets of ninjas and Onaway Band aligned. However, there isn't any written evidence to prove this transition. It should be noted that not all ninja transitioned to different employment at this time. Some daimyo kept ninjas in their employment until the end of the Edo period in 1868, but by and large the age of ninjas had faded a long time ago.